Simple, a team of 10 people must pull the boat along the shore for a distance of 100 meters and then back. The team that does it in the quickest time gets the winning points. There apparently is an art to barge hauling. It's better to put the strongest men first because they bear the whole weight. This year's winners are a team named Barge Haulers of Saturn. After a hard day of barge hauling, it's time for some downtime. All the teams enjoy the traditional hauler's meal, fish soup.
CrossFit Games.
That's our time for now. Thanks for watching Eye on the Weather. We'll see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, Wisconsin Democratic lawmakers and gun rights advocates are calling for action after the mass shootings in Ohio and Texas, what both groups are asking for.
An Edgerton man is arrested and is now facing his 4th OWI charge after a fatal crash. Why he was allowed to still be driving.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And this just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. A wind turbine in Randolph is currently on fire. Columbia County Dispatch says the call came in about 3:40 after a report of a turbine on fire. This was at the Glacier Hills Wind Farm on East Friesland Road at Highway 33. Officials say no injuries have been reported. Multiple units are on scene. This is a developing story. We'll have more at channel3000.com. Many counties at this hour are under a severe thunderstorm watch.
So let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti with a look at the forecast. Gary?
Yeah, we have a severe thunderstorm watch for areas north and west of Wisconsin Dells through much of central Wisconsin until 10 o'clock. Notice how these thunderstorms have been erupting very quickly across parts of central Minnesota into west central Wisconsin. As we take a look at the severe thunderstorm watch area, that does include the La Crosse area, areas north and west of Wisconsin Dells into much of central Wisconsin. Right now, severe thunderstorms are just crossing over the St. Croix River into west central Wisconsin, into Buffalo County in west central Wisconsin, but other severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect from south of the Twin Cities and through much of southeastern Minnesota. Nothing imminent right now for southern Wisconsin. However, again, that wider radar view shows thunderstorms pretty much off and on in a line from northeastern Wisconsin back down into northwestern Iowa. So those storms have the potential of being severe. There's an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms for tonight. You can see those temperatures right now, mid-80s with dew point temperatures in the mid-60s to around 70 degrees and heat index values between 85 and 90. Thunderstorm chances will be highest this evening, and then tomorrow a drier day with a high temperature of 82. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
The death toll after the shooting in El Paso continues to increase.
The 2 new deaths today bring the death toll from the attack to 22. 21-year-old suspected gunman Patrick Cruzius allegedly posted a racist anti-immigrant manifesto just before the shooting rampage. Authorities say he drove 10 hours to get to the Walmart in El Paso, a city that is 80% Latino and is at the center of a national debate on immigration. Cruzius has been charged with capital murder. The Justice Department is also considering whether to bring hate crime charges against him. The city of Dayton, Ohio is in mourning following this weekend's deadly shooting there. 9 people were killed and at least 27 others were wounded. 24-year-old Connor Betts is the accused gunman. Police are looking into reports that Betts had been suspended in high school after officials learned he had compiled a hit list of people he wanted to kill. Police say the AR-15 style rifle that Betts used was legal, but it was modified to function like an assault rifle. There have now been at least 255 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year.
President Trump has proclaimed that the U.S. flag be flown at half-staff to honor the victims of the El Paso and Dayton shootings. Those flags will be flown at half-staff until August 8th. And there is disagreement tonight in Wisconsin over what the best solution is to put a stop to the gun violence.
Democratic lawmakers are calling for gun control legislation, but gun rights advocates are pushing for more concealed carry licenses. Our Rose Schmidt sat down for a one-on-one with Attorney General Josh Kaul and explains what he wants and his reaction to it, Rose.
Yeah, so we've seen gun control legislation introduced by Democrats before, but these proposals are unlikely to pass the Republican-controlled state legislature. And gun rights activists say these bills are not the best way to prevent future mass shootings. Attorney General Josh Kaul is echoing calls he made on his inauguration day.
I'm hopeful that we will see a red flag law passed, and universal background checks here in Wisconsin.
Call wants to see the legislature pass a red flag law, allowing family or law enforcement to petition a court to take away someone's firearms if they're a danger to themselves or others. President Trump announced Monday morning that he supports the idea.
This is an issue that I agree with Donald Trump on now, as of today. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. This is about preventing these horrible tragedies from happening.
Representative Melissa Sargent introduced red flag legislation in 2017 and plans to do so again this fall, along with a bill requiring universal background checks and one allowing people to remove themselves from the gun buy list.
When states have passed these laws, we've actually been able to see a safer community for people to be in.
But the head of the group Wisconsin Carry, Nick Clark, is calling President Trump's comments troubling and offers a different solution.
If one person at that Walmart had a gun to act in their own self-defense, they probably would have saved many, many lives.
He encourages people to get concealed carry permits and learn how to protect themselves if they encounter a shooter. Democrats argue more guns does not keep people safe. But Clark says background checks and a red flag law would not have prevented the tragedies in Dayton and El Paso because passing laws won't prevent one person from shooting another.
The day that we assign some mental health police to decide who can and can't own a gun, we might as well walk over to the Smithsonian, pull out the Constitution and drop it in the shredder.
Republican Speaker Robin Vos and Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald could not be reached for comment today on whether they would support these proposals.
Rose Schmidt reporting. Rose, thank you. The online message board 8chan went dark after the alleged El Paso shooter posted a manifesto on that site minutes before walking into the Walmart and opening fire. President Trump partially blamed the internet after more than 30 people were killed in the two mass shootings over the weekend. Other mass shooters this year, including the Christchurch, New Zealand gunman who killed 51 people, were also linked to 8chan. Some argue taking down the site is a tough call since it could also deprive law enforcement of the tools to monitor criminals.
The internet has provided a dangerous avenue to radicalize, disturb minds, and perform demented acts.
It's a double-edged sword. We certainly want to know where they are, what they're doing, who's on them, but allowing them to remain active, of course, gives them an opportunity to proliferate.
FBI said in a statement, quote, U.S.-based domestic violence extremists could become inspired by these and previous high-profile attacks to engage in similar acts of violence. The FBI asked the American public to report to law enforcement any suspicious activity that's observed either in person or online.
We're looking into what are considered hate groups in our area.
According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, Wisconsin has more than a dozen of them. Madeline O'Neill is here with what that means. Maddie?
Well, the SPLC monitors about 1,600 groups it considers extremist across the country. According to its map, Wisconsin has 15 active hate groups, including those classified as anti-Muslim, white nationalist, black nationalist, and neo-Nazi. 2 of those groups are based in our region, including the Pilgrims Covenant Church in Monroe. The SPLC lists it as anti-LGBT, meaning the center says it demonizes those in the LGBT community. But the church's pastor says he doesn't think the church should be singled out.
We're just biblical. We don't take the welcoming, affirming, there's no such thing as sin approach, but we sure don't want to be lumped in with Nazis or, for instance, the likes of Westboro Baptist Church.
While the church takes a stance against homosexuality, Pastor Ovidel says it's not their main focus, but rather it's to preach the word of God. Coming up tonight at 10, we'll hear from the area group United Against Hate and why the latest shootings exemplify how important their mission here in Madison is.
All right, Maddie O'Neill reporting. Maddie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Maddie. A driver and a person who was inside a home were injured in a drunk driving crash yesterday in Columbia County. Deputies say it appeared the vehicle was traveling north on Highway 89 in the town of Columbus and failed to negotiate a right turn. It left the road and crashed into the house. Deputies arrived to find a car entirely inside a bedroom and a person was trapped by the vehicle. Their injuries are unknown. The 30-year-old male driver from Waterloo sustained numerous non-life-threatening injuries and was arrested for operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated.
A woman has died after a crash in Greene County. That incident happened Friday. Deputies say 26-year-old Daria Butel of Browntown was driving on County Highway C near the town of Adams when she failed to negotiate a curve in that road. Deputies say her car went into the ditch and overturned 3 times. Butel was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from that vehicle. Deputies say the airbags did not deploy. She was airlifted to a hospital but died as a result of those injuries. We're
learning tonight that an Edgerton man arrested for a drunk driving death last night had a valid license despite already having 3 OWIs.
Law enforcement officers say that is not uncommon in the state of Wisconsin. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with why that's the case. Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, ever since the Rock County Sheriff's Office posted about Daniel Good's arrest in relation to last night's drunken driving crash, people have been asking how he was allowed to be on the road to begin with. And last night's crash happened around 8 o'clock on Highway 213 near Magnolia Township. Police say that's where Good ran the stop sign there, hitting a car driving north. Following this, he was arrested for his 4th OWI. Rock County Sheriff's Office said it's likely enough time had passed since his last OWI that he was allowed to drive again.
Wisconsin prides itself in cheese and beer, so you're kind of having to recreate a culture and redefine a culture, and if you want to replicate what other states have done, which is to criminalize first offense OWI, then you really got to look at the legislature here in Wisconsin and look at your local elected officials that represent your area and give that opinion to them.
Police still haven't identified the victim in the crash, but say it's a 59-year-old woman from Madison. I tried to get in contact with the Rock County District Attorney in regards to this issue, but they say they didn't have a comment on the issue. But tonight at 6, we'll take a closer look at Wisconsin's laws that allowed someone with 3 OWIs to be back on the road to begin with.
Adam Duxter in Janesville. Adam, thank you. A woman was injured, a man arrested for operating while intoxicated after an ATV crash. This happened in Lafayette County Sunday, about 7:30 in the evening in Shullsburg Township. Deputies say 54-year-old Richard Montoya Jr. out of Warren, Illinois, was heading east on Dunbarton Road near County Highway P when he failed to stop at a stop sign, overcorrected, and then rolled several times. A woman on that ATV, Candace Montoya, also of Warren, was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Richard Montoya was taken to the Lafayette County Jail where he was booked and then released.
The Perkins restaurant in Janesville is closing. A sign was posted on the door of the restaurant on Milton Avenue this morning. The City of Janesville Economic Development Director tells the Janesville Gazette that the city was given no warning that Perkins would close, and he believes 50 to 80 people could be out of work. Perkins and Marie Callender's LLC, the company that owns the restaurant chain, has filed for Chapter 11 protection from creditors in Delaware. A first alert traffic update to the Verona Road construction. Starting tonight, crews will begin overnight closures at Highway PD at Verona Road. DOT officials say this is one of the biggest closures of the summer along Verona Road because Verona Road and PD is such a busy intersection. Though no through movements or left turns will be permitted at that Verona Road and County PD intersection overnight. This is so crews can set girders in place for the bridge.
For the commuters that use PD in that intersection, it'll be a major. They're going to want to seek alternate routes because there will be detouring. They have to work around the signals, come up and work their way through the neighborhood possibly. So they've got to provide more time and seek alternate routes.
The closures begin tonight and they run until Thursday from 7 p.m. until 6 a.m.
The Houston Texans are in Green Bay taking part in joint practices with the Green and Gold. And before today's practice, the Texans took part in Green Bay's Dream Drive, where players take a child's bike to the Don Hutson Center. Dozens of Packers and Texan fans gathered to watch former Badger, Pewaukee native J.J. Watt ride in the Dream Drive. He said that was a dream since he was a small boy to do that. Green Bay and Houston will play their first preseason game Thursday, 7 o'clock at Lambeau Field. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. Stocks had their worst day of the year, what investors say is driving that big drop on Wall Street.
And then coming up tonight at 6, how local groups are advocating for tighter gun laws and promoting education following the mass shootings in Texas and Ohio.
Boy, some massive red numbers on Wall Street to start the week. The Dow nosediving more than 767 points. The Nasdaq tumbles 278. The S&P 500 was off 87. And that sell-off was fueled by China's move to significantly weaken its dollar, the yuan, against the U.S. dollar. That makes Chinese products cheaper on the worldwide market, which can hurt U.S. manufacturers. In a series of tweets, President Trump called out China, calling the devaluation currency manipulation that hurts U.S. businesses and workers. All of this follows threats from the Trump administration last week of more trade tariffs on $300 billion in Chinese goods starting in September. The president says China will pay the price, but investors don't see it that way.
Those are going to hit the U.S. companies first, and there's going to be a little bit of time which they're going to be able to withstand that pain, but eventually that will trickle down to the consumer, and that's where the American public is very uneasy.
China also announced it hasn't ruled out the possibility of slapping tariffs on U.S. agricultural products.
To weather now, Gary Canalti is here and watching the chance for storms later today. Gary?
I am, Susan. In fact, we have an alert day in the forecast for tonight for the possibility for severe thunderstorms that could produce high winds, heavy rainfall, and maybe some hail as they move on through. Already we're seeing these across parts of southeastern Minnesota and west central Wisconsin. Severe thunderstorm warnings right now in effect for Buffalo and Trempealeau counties of west central Wisconsin as those storms cross over the St. Croix River. More storms developing back into south central and southeastern Minnesota. These are all moving toward the east, so it'll be a little while before they get here. Future radar over the next 3 hours shows that these storms will continue in an east-southeasterly direction and probably expand and start settling southward with time. So this brings you to about a little after 8 o'clock. These storms by that time should be near the Wisconsin Dells area, but as they sag toward the east and southeast, Madison probably will be in line for them around 10 o'clock. They'll go down to the Illinois state line by about midnight. So we'll keep a very close eye on these storms. Right now, a severe thunderstorm watch in effect just across Juneau and Adams counties until 10 p.m. tonight. A severe thunderstorm watch for parts of western Iowa until 11 p.m. So all this activity is heading toward the east-southeast. Storm Prediction Center has an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms, with high winds being the main threat from Madison on toward the north and west, and a slight risk across the rest of the state for tonight. Now, after a break tomorrow, there could be another round of thunderstorms Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening as another cold front comes through. Marginal risk of severe thunderstorms for much of the state of Wisconsin at that time, with gusty winds and hail being the main threats. But behind that, we should see a break in the heat and humidity as we head toward the latter part of this week. Rainfall amounts through tonight and into early tomorrow morning could see some amounts of 1 to 2 inches, and then the potential for some more showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday. So that could bring the totals up over 2 inches in parts of southern Wisconsin, with some locally higher amounts in areas that get heavier thunderstorms. Live here from the Queeby Radio Skycam in Platteville, looking off toward the northwest, just hazy sunshine right now. The WISC Skycam also showing hazy sunshine. All the activity right now is to our north and to our west, and the Edgewater Skycam looking toward the northwest, also showing the hazy sunshine. As we check out our almanac for today, our high temperature 85, the low temperature 65, well above the normals of 80 and 60. And right now we're still at 84 degrees. Winds are out of the southwest at 8 miles per hour. Heat index is at 85 as dew point temperatures are in the middle 60s. You can see temperatures right now where the rain has cooled the air in the 60s and 70s across northern Wisconsin. La Crosse, though, still ahead of the thunderstorms at 90 degrees, and temperatures mid to upper 80s across the rest of southern Wisconsin. Dew point temperatures are actually higher to our north and west. So this is where those storms are developing as the moisture starts trending eastward. That's why we're expecting the potential for those severe thunderstorms to hold together as they push into southern Wisconsin, as long as they don't outrace the moisture that's a little more prevalent to the west. You can see winds right now at the surface from the southwest. They become northwesterly right behind the thunderstorms. So it's actually a weak cold front that's triggering the storms. And on weather track, you can see these storms developing this afternoon, kind of forming a line as they head toward the south and east. The rest of the country, a lot of the heat still building just to our south and to our west. Notice the absence of clouds and thunderstorms there while the monsoon rains get going in the southwestern parts of the country. But here's that weak cold front. Temperatures really don't fall off a lot behind the front. Mid to upper 80s to around 90 ahead of the front, mid 80s behind it. But the humidity levels do drop off a little bit. Notice the dew point temperatures in the 70s here, 50s back to the north and west. We'll have to wait till the end of the week for that kind of relief from the heat. So our forecast, severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. for Juneau and Adams counties, areas to the north and west. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms developing. Some of those could have high winds and heavy rain this evening, low dropping to 65. Tomorrow, a mostly sunny day, or skies becoming mostly sunny. It'll be warm and humid with a high temperature of 82. Future track shows that line of showers and thunderstorms, again by 10 o'clock, reaching the Madison area, sweeping southeastward. By morning, they're gone with lows in the mid 60s. Highs tomorrow, lower 80s, an outside chance of a shower or storm to pop up, but I haven't even put them in the forecast. They're so small. Tomorrow night, clear skies, lows mid-60s. And then Wednesday, we could see some storms pop up in the afternoon. High temperatures in the lower to middle 80s. Again, rainfall amounts through Wednesday could be in the 1 to 2 inch range over much of southern Wisconsin. After that, though, here's the break in the heat and humidity. Upper 70s return on Thursday. Low 80s early next week. Humidity levels stay down. Chances of thunderstorms Monday, and then again about Wednesday of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, that is the belt line at Park Street, and you can see traffic moving pretty slowly in both directions. A lot of traffic out there. We've got right now delays eastbound beginning around Monona Drive, heading back to Verona Road. Westbound around Fish Hatchery Road, back to around John Nolan Drive. Some delays on John Nolan Drive itself. 24 minutes on the the eastbound belt line from University Avenue to the interstate, 19 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, it's 27 minutes to Janesville on I-3990 from the belt line, 17 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 16 minutes out to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue, US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Still ahead of News 3 Now at 5. Doctors have found a new non-invasive procedure when it comes to heart bypass surgery. We'll show you how it works after a short break. Surgeons believe a new non-invasive procedure could be a game changer when it comes to heart bypass surgery.
Kenneth Craig visited one of the few hospitals in the world putting it to use and met one of the first patients to have it done.
I feel like Like I said, I feel better than I felt in a long time.
71-year-old Skip Vicness was back up and moving just a few weeks after having a double coronary bypass surgery. It's a procedure that until now could have sidelined him with months of recovery.
The recovery has just been a miracle. I'm back to normal, my heart is strong, and I'm able to do whatever I want to do. Just feels terrific.
That's because Skip's surgery was done totally endoscopically, meaning doctors were able to make small incisions and use a robot to complete the bypass and treat the serious blockages in his arteries. Traditional bypass surgery is invasive and involves cutting open the chest. The recovery for that surgery is much more painful and carries a higher risk of infection.
After totally endoscopic bypass, patients return to their normal life very, very quickly, without pain, without that prolonged recovery, without narcotics. That artery is completely blocked.
Dr. John Puskis at Mount Sinai St. Luke's is one of the few surgeons in the world performing the new procedure. He says it's a more demanding and difficult operation, but believes it could be a game changer for patients.
I think this could change the paradigm for how we treat the disease process that is the most common killer of human beings. Coronary disease.
Skip says he feels like he's been given a gift.
It's just been an amazing trajectory for me. Each day I feel better and better.
You look great.
I feel great.
And he hopes one day the surgery that saved his life will become the standard. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
And stay with us. We'll have a final check of your forecast and a look at the storm outlook in just a moment. Stay with us.
Gary's watching chance for storms.
Yeah, there's severe weather right now across much of southeastern Minnesota into far west central Wisconsin. Those storms north of La Crosse right now, a number of severe thunderstorm warnings there for Buffalo and Trempealeau counties. This is future radar over the next 3 hours showing the storms really starting to conglomerate into a line and then start settling a little more southeastward. So that would take it into the Dells area by about 8:30, probably to Madison by about midnight. But nothing imminent right now, so things pretty quiet for the next few hours. Severe thunderstorm watch north and west of the Dells until 10 p.m. tonight. Right now, temperatures mid-80s, dew point temperatures mid-60s to the lower 70s, and those heat index values between about 85 and 95 degrees. But after the storms move out of here, much nicer weather for the rest of the week.
All right, we're back in 30 minutes. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.